Previously on SimNoob. I lose a kart race. I obsess over my defeat. I sim race every day. And eventually, I win my first race. With my confidence through the roof, I jump into the Ferrari 296 GT3. It's a D-license series. How hard can it be? Well, that was me sitting on top of Mount Stupid. I gave the Ferrari the good old college try for about 20 minutes in a practice session. The speed and the power made everything happen too quickly for me to catch any of my many mistakes. My ego wasn't ready for that kind of humility, so I retreated to the GR86 after only a short introduction to the Ferrari. My plan was to improve my safety rating in a lower horsepower car and reset. This tactical retreat, however, backfired. Big time. I don't know if it was just my split or this particular circuit, Navara Medium, but the 86 drivers were super aggressive. Way more so than the MX-5 drivers. They were frequently making ridiculously impossible dive bombs that would obviously cause big incidents. My safety rating tanked, and I felt like I was in a demolition derby. I even got a 4X on my first race during the rolling start, before the race even started. The guy was weaving the full width of the track while we were double file formation. Was every newbie jumping in the GR86 because they saw Keanu race Indianapolis last week? I came back to the Ferrari with fire in my eyes. Why should I be scared of crashing in a simulator? That's literally what they're for. The MX-5 and Ferrari drove on complete opposite ends of the spectrum. The MX-5 has no aero. It's loose under braking, and it understeers under throttle. Turning while braking even slightly in the MX-5 is super touchy, and almost guarantees a spin out. The Ferrari, on the other hand, has a ton of downforce. It's way more stable, and trail braking is essential to rotate it into corners. Two completely different driving styles, and I had to relearn everything. I had realized by this point that winning a couple races in the MX-5 gave me false confidence, an ego boost that I really didn't deserve. I was at the peak of Mount Stupid on the Dunning-Kruger effect, and I was crashing down into the valley of despair. In the Ferrari, I was regularly getting a beatdown. To make things worse, I had some horrible luck along the way. I wasn't just losing, I was not even finishing races. Once again, my safety rating and iRating have plummeted lower than they've ever been before. I realized I was trying to do too much all at once. I was juggling too many goals, and it was hurting my progress. I needed to focus on just one thing, improving my safety rating. My ego wouldn't let me back off though. I kept battling people at my skill level, trying to prove that I was better. But that just led to more incidents, so I had to make a tough decision. I started letting people pass. It was infuriating, especially when people crashed into me while I was letting them pass. But thankfully, that didn't happen often enough to make me give up on this strategy. I started running the production car challenge. It's a longer race at 25 minutes, which means I could turn more laps per hour and improve my safety rating. I thought I found the easy way to grind, but I had crossed over into the 3.0 safety rating threshold and received a big bump in rating. They give big bumps when you achieve promotions in order to prevent people from frequently moving up and down in license classes. I did not know this, and thought that it was the normal reward for the long races. I was in for a surprise when I thought I was going to get my C license in 3 races. I had also run Road Atlanta all last week, not knowing that the races were open setup. So I kept wondering how people were driving 3 to 4 seconds faster than I was with a full 22-gallon tank of fuel. Once the track changed to Summit Point for the new week, I had a qualifying setup with minimum fuel, and a race setup with 5.9 gallons. I also bumped up the rear downforce by 1 increment to compensate for the now lighter rear end. This allowed me to set competitive lap times and qualify ahead of the troublemaker drivers in order to avoid the inevitable turn 1 pileup. Also, 25 minutes of hard racing is enough to notice tire degradation. Around the last 3 minutes, you have to start braking earlier. If I started near the front, I would avoid incidents because they would usually happen behind me. Despite being overly cautious, I still managed to squeeze in some one-on-one racing.
外からじゃ絶対抜けねえぜ。インに行け。インかアウトか。アウトだろ。高橋亮介がインサイドを全く開けなかった。あれじゃインをつくのは無理だ。
Winning a braking competition, whether it's braking later or pulling off an undercut, has gotta be one of the top 10 most satisfying things in the world. Anyway, did I get my C license? It took 10 hours, but I finally got it. I was excited to finally open the door to more racing variety, but every single one was paywalled. And I think it's just too soon to be making yet another impulse purchase. I've already spent more money on iRacing than any other game/sim in the past. Assuming you don't count the cost of putting together the sim rig, of course. In the end, it was a hell of a grind, a lot of frustration, and a new license that is currently meaningless. If you guys could comment below on what else you would like to see from this channel, that would help me out a lot. I'm still figuring out what the future of this channel will look like, and you guys can help me shape it to be tailored for you. Thank you so much for watching. See you in the next one.